It was once the seat of a powerful kingdom whose legacy is often forgotten today. On the banks of the Dhansari River sprawls a city that's the cosmopolitan and commercial heart of Nagaland today. The ruins that dot its landscape, among them a set of mysterious mushroom domed pillars, are testament to an equally distinguished past. Dimapur was once the seat of the Dimasa kingdom, also called Kachar, which was established by the Dimasa Kachari people and ruled parts of the Brahmaputra valley from at least the 13th century, the time of the earliest available written records, although Dimasa rule in Dimapur may go back as far as the 10th century, according to the historian Uttam Bathari, to the 19th, when it was annexed to British India. There are two accounts of the way in which Dimapur got its name. Most scholars are of the opinion that it is derived from the Dimasa Kachari words Di means water and Ma means large, referring to the Dhansari, and Sanskrit Pura means city. Others are the view that Dimapur is a corruption of Hidimbapur, meaning the city of Hidimbi, a character in the Mahabharata who married the Pandava prince Bhima and gave birth to Ghatotkacha, believed to be the progenitor of the Kacharis. Meanwhile, other accounts often refer to the brick city. For instance, in the Ahom chronicles, Dimapur is referred as the Chi Din Chi Pin, town earth burn make, meaning brick town. The Kacharis have been described the original autochthons of Assam. S.K. Bhuyan in Kachari Buranji writes that they build political and administrative units, vestiges of which have lingered till this day. Captain Thomas Fisher, the first superintendent of Kachar after the kingdom annexation by the British in 1832, said that Kacharis had gradually built an empire over Assam. Sylhet, Mymensingh and the valleys to the east of the Brahmaputra, their original seat being at Kanpur, and that their rule ultimately embraced everything from Kanpur down to the sea. Evidently, the Kacharis were widely distributed and exercised their sovereignty throughout Assam in different ages, with different names and in different places. According to the Bhuyan, the kingdom of Kachar, ruled by Tamradvach Narayan, a contemporary of the Ahom king Swargadev Rudra Singh in the early 18th century, and by Govinda Chandra at the time of the British occupation, was only one of numerous states founded by the Kachari people. Dimapur, which was the capital of the kingdom from the 13th century to the 16th, was originally enclosed on three sides by a brick wall 4 feet wide, 16 feet high and 2 miles long, surrounded by an outer ditch 16 feet in width and 12 feet in depth, except on the southern side where the Dhansari formed a natural moat. On the eastern side, there was a fine solid gateway with brick masonry of pointed double arches. The gate was secured by heavy double doors, the hinges of which were seated in holes pierced in solid stone blocks. There were half quadrant shaped turrets at both ends of the battlements, and niches like ornamental windows between two turrets and the archway. High up on either side of the arch is a carving of sunflowers that were originally faced with brass so as to present a dazzling spectacle when seen sparkling in the sun from afar. In Deodhai Ahom Buranjis, there are references to the Kacharis constructing tanks and harnessing water from river by cutting canals. They made small dams or water channels to divert streams and irrigate their fields. There were large number of excavated tanks, big and small, near settlements and cultivated sites in the Dhansari Valley. These were used for both agriculture and domestic purposes. The river providing a perennial source of water. The presence of so many tanks, 52 in all, in the vicinity of Dimapur indicates that it supported a large population. The 19th century surveyor and mountaineer H. Godwin Austen's plan of the city revealed three tanks, one within the walled enclosure and two enormous one outside. The former seems to have been for drinking and the later for irrigation. One of the major activities of the king was the construction of irrigation works, which also indicates the existence of an organized workforce under the state that could be deployed for agriculture purposes. The development of crafts like masonry, quarrying, metal smithing, and brick making, and the architectural edifice all point at the presence of craft specialist. B.C. Allen in his Geistir has suggested that thin, flat native bricks were used to build the monuments, indicating that the Dimasa kings had brick making centers of some sort. Stone blocks used in the monuments were procured from the Naga hills and transported to the capital complex in elephant carts, which had wooden wheels attached to the shafts with iron axles. The use of brass and iron shows that metalworks was fairly developed. The 15th century was characterized as the golden age of Dimasa rule by T. Bloch and E. Gate. It's one of many epochs and civilizations that have been neglected and forgotten, thanks to colonial administrators who branded the people of the Northeast as primitives, savage, and godless. This attitude was passed down to the Indian scholars too. I believe it's time we became the voice for many such unrecognized places from the past and began to accord the civilization of the Northeast their place in the history of India.